Hey everybody, and welcome to my plus size grandma with Miss Coco Bowden. Y'all, I am so disappointed in seeing what's going on today in the news about this bullying and these kids committing suicide because of bullying. We have some adult bullies too as well. I talked about them before, but it's really sad that I know I just come off the gate with that, didn't I? Because it's on my mind, so heavy. It's sad anytime you see somebody that has committed suicide, or you especially see our young children at the age of 10 years old committing suicide. That's very bad, and this is the thing about it. Parents don't realize how hard it is for children to grow up in today's world. It's very bad. From the time they're born, they're marked. They're targeted from the time they're born. From the time you put that first social media blast out about I had a baby, your baby is marked right then, and targeted for these bullies to pick on. And it's just heartbreaking to see that young boy that was in the news. I don't even know his name. I couldn't hardly read it because I get so emotional. But it's hard to see when kids that age can even think of suicide. I said, at a conference. I spoke at a youth conference about 3 years ago, and I mentioned to the parents that was in there that kids young as 2 years old have suicidal thoughts, and they looked at me like I was crazy. But I knew exactly what I was talking about because I witnessed it. I witnessed it around some kids that I had been around at some schools, and these kids were suicidal at a young age. And nobody takes it serious because they're a kid and they think the kids can just brush stuff off. But nowadays, kids don't just brush stuff off because of social media, and because for the simple fact, the parents now, because the parents are so caught up in social media and stuff too, that everybody's living this online world. Everybody's living in an online world, and these kids are often, they're not neglected, but when they go to school, I can say to a certain degree that they are neglected. I remember one day, I'm not going to call any names or anything, but I remember clearly as my eyes could see that one day, I just happened to be in a certain place at a certain time and not thinking nothing about it. And next thing I know, I see a teacher grab a child by her ponytail. I saw a teacher grab that child by her ponytail and literally just sling her around because she wasn't walking fast enough for them. I mean, it's crazy how we send our kids to school or daycare and think that they're safer there than they are at home. But reality is that they're not. They're not that safe. And for one thing, we got younger teachers in now that do not have the experience and knowledge that it really takes, because you think about it. Before these online colleges came about, I'm trying to fix my thing, y'all. Give me just a second. Dum boom boom boom. Before online colleges came about, everything was on hands on, and now you don't have too much hands on stuff. So these teachers now, they're just in it for the money. They're not in it from the heart. Back in the day when I was coming up, you had teachers that were in it from the heart, and these teachers would come out to your house on their own time. You hear me? They would come out on their own time after school if it was serious enough. they would come out and speak with the parents and stuff. But now there's so many students and so few teachers that they don't have time to cater to everyone like that. And the teachers now are being taught and bred to be emotional. You know, they don't have any emotions or any affection toward the situation that the kid is going through. Everything now basically is built on policies. If the policy doesn't say do this, do that, they're not going to do it. They're not going to stand up for your children. And it pisses me off that these parents, they went to the school and told that their child was being bullied. They told it. And yet this child was still taunted. This child, he already had a hard life. First of all, he had a hard life growing up. He was premature, and so he had to wear a colostomy bag. And because of that, he leaked some on himself while he was at school. And there were kids that were just picking on him about it. You know, kids just, they're not being kids. They're doing what they learn at home, basically. They're doing what they learn at home or either from some other environment. But either way, these kids are coming back to school and doing what they see the people that they're around do. And I mean, it's sad. It's really sad. I mean, it's like, what do you do as a parent? You gotta school your kids, and sometimes the option of schooling your kids at home is not an option because you gotta work, you gotta feed them, you gotta clothe them. If you don't do that right, you're gonna be in trouble. You know, there's just not enough help out here for some of the parents, and it really concerns me because I do have 5 granddaughters. So it concerns me a lot when I see a young child, 10 years old, committing suicide. I'm trying to pull up the article right quick so that I can read a little bit about it. Oh God, y'all, while I'm pulling it up, let me tell you what I'm doing. I am cooking me some split peas for early. I'm cooking them early. I'm gonna have split pea soup. Getting that protein in. The good protein. They don't want me having pinto beans. What's the difference? It doesn't take long to cook those beans. But I'm pulling it up, y'all, so just give me a second here. I'm just going to talk about other stuff. But yeah, it doesn't take long to cook those split peas. That thing really got to me, though. And he's such a beautiful boy, and now he doesn't have a life because he felt like his life wasn't worth living because enough people wasn't standing up for him, the right people. In the schools, the school system is letting us down. There is more sexual harassment and sexual assault in these little elementary schools by these little kids than more people realize. And when you go to the principals about it, they try to, make it look like it's just a small thing, like, oh, it's just kids playing, or they're just doing a little pinching and stuff. We don't know what that child went through while he was at that school. And if they knew that he was being bullied, they should have been watching him extra close. I know somebody could have watched him some kind of way. I mean, this is unacceptable. Unacceptable. Very. This came across WFNY News Channel 2. It says 10-year-old takes own life. Parents blame bullying. We kept telling him this would be all over, his mother said, referring to a fresh start at a new school surrounded by children who wouldn't know about his condition. And as I said before, the condition was that he had to wear a colostomy bag. This was in Louisville, Kentucky. The parents of 10-year-old Seven Bridges are blaming bullying after the 5th grader took his own life Saturday morning. I saw my son dead. That's something in my head, Tammy Charles told, I'm going to say Channel 11. I don't feel like saying all them abbreviations, but she came home from the grocery store to find her son had hanged himself in the closet. Her husband, Sarah's father, was at a church choir practice. For a few minutes that we left, he didn't want us to see that, his father, Donnie Bridges, said. Seven was their only child. He was a miracle baby. Charles was told she couldn't have children, but on July 25th, 2008, he was born. Seven had a tough start. He was born with a colostomy bag. Even though it was removed, he would still have problems leaking. Charles said it became a reason for kids to make fun of him. 26 surgeries from the day my son was born. 26 surgeries. He just wanted to be normal. That's all, she explained. Channel 11 talked to Charles and Seven in September after an alleged bullying incident on his bus ride home from Carrick Elementary School. He said he was called the N-word by a student. His friend told him to beat up that student, and when Seven refused, he said the bus buddy started choking him. I still can't get him choking me out of my head, he said in September. Charles took her son to get a CAT scan. Then she followed up on social media where there's a video. Y'all, I tried to find the video. I did not find that video. When I clicked on the site that has it, it took me somewhere else. But anyway, it didn't show me the video that I wanted to see. No referral, no incident report, no paperwork, she said in September. His mother fought for JCPS to open an investigation into the incident. The district did, through a spokesperson from the school, could not go into specifics about what disciplinary action may have been taken against the accused bully. We can't get into student discipline, and again, we're going to be reviewing everything to see now we handle things on our end, Renee Murphy explained. However, she was able to say the matters were addressed. JCPS has launched a full investigation to make sure all policies and procedures were followed properly and to look into how all complaints that came into the school were handled. We are devastated. Our hearts are breaking for this family. The school community is hurting right now, Murphy said. And I just got to stop right there. How can you be hurting? How can your heart be breaking for the family when you did nothing to stop what was going on? I mean, clearly they reported that the child was being bullied in September. They reported it, but nothing was done. No paperwork to even back that up. I mean, nothing. I mean, so how can you even begin to understand his parents' feelings? How? I mean, that's crazy. The balls that were dropped, she said, blaming the bullies and a flawed system that couldn't protect her son. It wasn't that JCPS didn't have these tools. They just weren't at our school. It wasn't that they didn't have these tools to help the victims of bullying. They just weren't there. They weren't used, Charles explained. Murphy said JCPS takes bullying and this issue very seriously and said there is a bullying prevention hotline. Oh, good. A great way to throw it off to the hotline. When this child was in your care the whole time, 8-9 hours of school, this child is in your care and you don't do anything about it. And you want to make it seem like now you take things serious. But what happened in September? It's people like this, narrow-minded people like this, who try to cover up their faults and not take responsibility for what they could have prevented. They could have prevented this little boy from going through